There's a little side from
Yes.
talking reef and fish.
Yes.
He does free diving, and he's actually amazing at it. He's going to talk about it, but you're going to see some videos right now as he talks about it.
You have to love reefing.
Thank you. I mean, in terms to me, as free diving, when you're free diving, your relationship with the sea, you're more of a citizen to the sea and not a foreigner or a tourist. When you're scuba diving, you've got so many equipment, so much bubbles that are completely unnatural for the marine animals. When you're free diving, what's the difference between you as a free diver with a turtle or with other species, other mammals like whales? The only difference is that they're way better free divers than you. So, because they can go way deeper and stay way longer. I mean, I've been several times free diving and I see turtles sleeping at night on one breath. So they can do that. They're just way better free divers. But the advantage you have when you're free diving is that animals in the sea are more comfortable. And they're curious species. Most animals in the sea, most fishes are curious species. So when free diving, you tend to interact way closer and way more with those animals. And you could see several times where I was able to interact with whale sharks, with orcas, killer whales. I've seen them in the wild. That was in a trip in Madagascar in 2011.
1 second.
Yeah.
You were in the water
Yes.
with a killer whale,
Yeah. There was
swimming alongside of them.
8 of them.
8 of them.
Yeah.
Did they surround you like they're going to come in for the kill? Or
You know, I have to admit I was scared to shit, but we were.
hello,
You know,
we can't say those words.
what happened is we were with a guy called Chris Code. He passed away unfortunately a couple of years ago. This guy was he's officially the longest living person with leukemia in South Africa. He lived 27 years
With leukemia.
with leukemia. He went to Madagascar basically to die there, and he ended up living 27 years there. And he died at 51 years, and his wish was to live up to 50. And he called his business Orca Adventures, and he's never seen orcas. So the only time and the first time that he's seen orcas was when we were his clients. So I was there, and we were going out in the sea to free dive at a place called Castor Bank. And while we're on the way, and we start seeing whales everywhere. So we stop and we get closer. Oh my God, they're orcas. He couldn't believe. So I asked him, I mean, what are you doing? It seems like you're jumping. He said, yes, of course. He said, and it's safe. He said, man, those are the smartest animals on earth. I can't forget those words, the smartest animals on earth.
Yeah, I think we're the smartest animals on earth, because I ain't going in a water full of orcas.
Well,
That's
I'm not sure.
happening.
I'm not sure with everything that's happening in the world now. I'm not sure. But anyway, so he jumped, and we all jumped, and then there was a family. They had 2 calves, and the calves, which are like juveniles, they were actually getting close to us and more interesting to interact with us. And you could see from the eyes and the language that the dialogue that's happening in there, and you could hear that there's a lot of sense to what's happening, but you can't understand it. So the juvenile will come and check us out, checks the engine, and we were around, just around the boat, yeah. And then the mother would come and take him away. I mean, just like calls him to come, and he follows her, and then he leaves her and he comes back to us. He wants to play. And then you would see the whole family coming in, checking us out, and then going. And then we got on the boat, and then we kept on doing that for 3 hours. We swam with them for 3 hours.
Wow.
And on that same day, we had the minke whale just pass under us. It was more than like 10, 11 meter minke whale just going under us. And at that time, things went into slow motion. And that's the thing about the adventures with the sea. While you're free diving, you tend to interact and see species that you've never seen before. I mean, and that's going macro. You can go also micro. You could be on a reef, interacting with fish, but suddenly you see species of corals that you've never seen before. I mean, I've discovered one of those blastomusas while diving in Madagascar. And,
Yes, as a matter of fact, you showed me a picture of it.
and I brought a
And
frag.
I'm supposed to be bringing a frag with me back to Qatar.
And I
Let's see if that happens.
Aquaculture and turned out to be the only real rainbow blastomusas that ever been discovered. And I aquacultured it, and it's doing well. I don't have many of them, but I'll give you one. And,
you know,
and it's just beautiful.
If he don't give me one, I'll tell him, go look over there. One way or another,
You know,
Johnny's coming back with one of those.
you know, reefers always tend to have bone cutters.
Yeah, you know, they have bone cutters and they have pockets lined in plastic.
Yeah,
So that way they can hold the water in their pockets.
absolutely. So life is an adventure, and to me, you know, I want to die in the ocean. I want to have my last breath in the ocean, somewhere in the ocean. It doesn't matter how. I could be just diving or near an aquarium, or that's just us. I mean, you'll understand. You guys like you would understand.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I truly love the ocean. I've done a lot of diving.
Mm.
I do less diving now because I just find that I'm enjoying myself with tanks more.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying creating new tanks for people who want new tanks. So my interests have actually gone a different direction. I still love my fish. I still love my corals. And I love learning about it. Like every Saturday, I sit down and I read journals.
Yeah.
Right? And I read journals so that way I know what's going on in the scientific world with the names of changes of the animals, the name of changes of the corals. I mean, you know, the other day I read an article where Acropora brugimanii has just been changed to Isopora brugimanii.
Yes.
You know,
I've heard that too.
And when you read an article like that, you go, wait a second. Oh my God, that changes everything. And most people wouldn't understand why that changes everything. And it's the spawning behavior of Isopora and the spawning behavior of Acropora are different.
Completely different.
Completely different. So it changes everything. And Isopora brugimanii actually looks like an Acropora.
A normal Acropora. It's
Yeah,
hard to differentiate between them.
Yeah, it's very, you know, so it's interesting to find out all these little things. And this is what I am, that's my level of enjoying the hobby today. And I'll go scuba diving if the opportunity tomorrow came for diving to Bataha, I'm there. And I keep telling him,
I'll shadow you.
I keep telling him, you have to go to Tubataha.
I've never been there.
I
I've been
mean-
to several places: Sipadan, Ascension Island, Madagascar, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand. I've been in several places in the world, in Oman, in UAE, on the eastern coast, many areas, Mediterranean. But this is something I've not done yet.
No, you have
Gotta
to do it.
that.
I've done many different locations,
Yes.
and I've enjoyed them all, and they're all special in their own way. But Tubataha has something of me that I just really can't relinquish.
Very special. Very special.
Yeah, very special.
Very special.
I enjoy it a lot, and I want to go back there. But, you know, I enjoy, like when we were at Barnett's place,
Yeah.
looking at the fish, checking them out, observing their behaviors, their colors, was like,
Unbelievable.
oh, I was in heaven. I was in heaven. That was my interpretation of heaven.
What's impressive about this place was the size and the quality of the species that are in there. You would know immediately that this is a company you want to work with. All the fish were healthy. They had quarantine facilities. They had medication facilities. So they were taking care of some fish over there. So it's not like,
meanwhile, they told them,
yeah,
this fish is under medication. You can't have them.
I couldn't. That sunburst. Yes, no, wait.
He was like, no, I want the sunburst Antheus.
So I took it with me, yeah.
Yeah, so he wound up taking it with him.
Yeah, still hiding in the tank, so I'm still waiting for him to
He'll come out.
He'll come out. Yeah.
If you don't see a carcass,
No.
he's still alive in there somewhere.
Not yet. He'll come out, yeah.
So, we've touched a little bit on almost everything.
Yeah.
What's your number one coral?
Oh my God. Oh man, that's a very difficult question.
No, you got to have one.
Yeah. Well,
We all have one.
yeah, we all have one. I mean, it changed. I mean, my most beautiful coral 20
I'm not
years
saying
ago.
which beautiful. I'm saying which is your number one favorite coral. You have to have one
Yeah.
that you say, you know what? I would just set up a tank just of this coral and no other coral. This is the only one I would want.
It's the rainbow splice millipora, and
that's a nice coral.
it's a beautiful coral. I mean, it's like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it was the macroladis, the strawberry shortcakes. What's known for the strawberry shortcakes. It was actually something new and different in the industry. You've got this rainbow blended greens and reds and pinks in one coral and growing in very nicely. But then now you've got what the industry have reached with aquaculturing is that they're blending in different pigmentations and colors of acroporas and milliporas, and that they're generating new species with different pigmentations and different blend of colors. That just drives somebody nuts, and you can't say.
Well, again, look what they're pulling out of the Solomons.
Yeah, it's
right.
beautiful. I mean, I couldn't believe that those
I would have never
corals
thought that those corals would ever. To me, they were dipped.
Absolutely.
But no, this is the natural color of these corals.
What I saw is Australian type of plating acroporas.
Yeah.
However, the colors and the different blends of colors and how strong the colors. You think that they glow in the dark, really. I mean, you look at these corals, it's unbelievable.
I said, can you shut the light off and see if this thing glows? Because it looked that way.
It was unbelievable.
All right, so now, that's your favorite coral.
Correct.
Favorite fish?
Oh.
I'll make it easy for you. Your top 2 favorite fish.
Yeah, I mean, look, to start with, before I name my favorite fish, because everybody has a favorite fish, I like,
better.
What I do is, I like the reefing effect of the corals with the different schooling of fish coming in. To me, that is way better than having one amazing fish going around an aquarium. But if I want to name my favorite fish, it's got to be the yellow tank. I mean, the color yellow is a fish.
So vibrant.
It's so vibrant, and it stands out no matter what you do. You can put a rainbow fish in there, and you gotta get close, and you'll see it, and you'll love it. I mean, all of those, beautiful angelfish. I mean, angelfish are really the most beautiful fish, but my favorite would be, and by far, the yellow tank.
The yellow tank.
Yeah. You can't have a to me, there is no reef tank without a yellow tank. The yellow tank needs to be there. It's what drives the whole ecosystem of species in there. I mean, you've got the gem tank in here. You've got beautiful fishes in there.
You even have a fusiler in here.
Yeah, he's been with us. He's been with us for quite a while now, maybe 6-7 years, and he's doing well. What's beautiful about the species is most of them will grow to the size of the aquarium. You can put these species on a smaller aquarium and come after same feeding, same time. I mean, same period of time, and you'll find that their size kind of stays proportional to the size of the aquarium.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've seen 7-10-year-old yellow tanks, no bigger than this.
Same size.
Same size.
Somehow they just don't outgrow the tank.
Yeah, they kind of know,
Yeah.
Now, we chose the coral.
Yeah.
We chose the fish.
Correct.
Where do you think I'm going next?
Bacteria, maybe.
No, bacteria. I think I think the industry is killing the bacteria.
Yeah, probably
anyway.
Shrimps, maybe.
No,
vertebrates.
If you had unlimited budget, okay. One of my favorite guys to watch and enjoy his tank is Andrew Sandler.
Without any doubts.
He's got, obviously, the budget or the pockets in order to do what he does. If you had the pockets, what size tank would you have?
Without any doubt, I'll do exactly what Andrew Sanders have done.
Really?
Without any doubt. And even if I have to pay double, I've got the money. I mean, why are we living? We're living in order to enjoy our lives and to help people around us who are in need. I mean, both of those. I mean, yes, why not? I mean, why not? If I've got the, the money and I can afford to have something like that, and sitting there with this beautiful mixed reef aquarium of such a size, and having all these facilities and give jobs to a lot of families and people to take care of this aquarium. I mean, look at the benefits. It's like everywhere. It's a spectrum of benefits to everybody. And by far, I would sit there, have my cup of coffee, enjoy sitting down with some friends, watching this beautiful tank. It's, I said it, my dream was to bring the fish 24 years ago. My dream was to bring the ocean home, right? So the ocean home could be in a small nano aquarium that you can have in your living room, to such a size aquarium maybe you can have in your bedroom even. So
it's interesting because, as much as I enjoy Andrew's, the other size tank that I like is Joe Aiullo's in Long Island.
Yes.
That one is 20,000 gallons.
Wow.
And anyone with the right budget can create that tank.
Without any doubt.
However, I find that I would enjoy a 500 or a 300 because it's so much manageable.
I agree with you.
Than having a much larger.
Yeah. With a tank of that size, for Andrew or people like Andrew, I mean, you gotta have like a full-fledged team running this tank, a full-time team running this tank.
Oh yeah, I'm building a tank right now for a Qatari who we will have to employ 2 employees
full-time
to work 24 hours a day on his tank. Right? One will work half the day, the other one will work the other half of the day because the tank is so big.
Yes, and for that tank you need a quarantine facility because you can't just like have millions of dollars of corals in there and fish and risk putting in any foreign species in there and risk like a spread of outspread of flatworms or bugs or egg or velvet or any other diseases or
it's
pests.
A lot of work.
It's a lot of work and a lot of attention to details. You gotta put these species on the microscope and see what's in there before you introduce to these aquariums. I mean, adding them in the beginning, it's okay because you have little to lose, and at best, it's restarting is more affordable. But when the aquarium is at the level of Andrew Sanders' aquarium, no, you gotta take things really carefully. And I'm sure these guys are the best. I mean, the guys who work there are one of the best in the industry. Yeah,
he has a full-fledged team there that's doing a marvelous job. And you can see, I mean, the health of the fish, the health of the corals, it's amazing. The same thing with Joe.
Yeah.
You look at Joe's tank in the aquarium, and it's, oh my God, he just redid the aquascape in that tank.
Yeah.
And a year later, he's tearing it apart because it outgrew. it overgrew everything, and he's tearing it up again to rebuild it.
That's the problem with when you're too successful. That's the main problem is that you
it's amazing. So so your path would be the Andrew Sandler way.
I mean, not that I'm gonna get there, but if I had the capability to do what Andrew did, I'll do it without a break.
Well, I tell you, I went to your house yesterday.
Yeah.
And we sat there and we watched your tank, and I enjoyed it. I even recorded, and you'll see now. Yeah. He has a tusk, and it's not an Australian tusk. This one is from the Philippines.
Correct.
And how I said to him, "Check it out. Look what he's doing," and he was scoping out the tridacna clam, the maxima.
At the moment, we thought that it was bothering.
No, not we. You did. I told you, no, he's looking for something. And sure enough, he wasn't bothering the mantles. He was looking for things on it. And I said to you, he's getting snails. There's snails on that.
Baby snails,
And sure enough, he was on them, jumping on it. And I brought the camera up close, and he swam to the back. Then I came back slowly. And sure enough, he came to the front. And he started picking around, which you'll see now anyway. Yeah. So
I mean,
it was enjoyable watching that tank, and it's not a big tank. It's not huge, but
it's 1,000.
enjoyable.
It's 1,000 liters connected to 400 liters of a frac tank, and I've got a small quarantine tank of around 200 liters, and I've got that kind of a man cave lab at my house. You know.
Hey, would you believe? Okay, talk about man cave. You know, we guys love our man caves,
True.
and sometimes under, the umbrella of marriage, the man cave disappears.
Yeah. Big time.
But some guys get to keep their man caves. Some guys wind up losing them, and it's over.
I behaved.
So here he is with a man cave in the house. But before we get into the house, he has a man cave outside the house in a trailer. And he says, "Oh yeah, let's go in here." And I go, "What's in there?" And he says, "My man cave." And I said, "You have a man cave outside?" So it turned out he has two man caves. This
Correct.
man is an inspiration.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, the one outside is the one for my free diving, some scuba diving, everything that has to do with dive gear is in there. Got a lot of wetsuits, some fishing gear.
He's being really modest, but he can open up a dive shop with what's inside this place. I didn't video it, it's private and everything, but at the end of the day,
Yeah,
he can rent everything out in there and still have stuff on the shelves because he had wetsuits, everything.
I've got stuff in there that goes 25 to 30 years ago.
And it's air conditioned.
It's air
I walked in and I said, "Hey, it's cool in here." And I'm thinking, man, how did he insulate this that it stays cool, especially in Dubai, right?
Yes.
And it was nice and cool, beautiful. And I said, "Hey, what's going on here?" He goes, "No, I have an AC."
Yeah. No, I keep everything in there. It's every time I want to go out diving, I just go there, grab my bag. There's always a free diving bag ready, some scuba diving gear ready, in case any trip comes up anytime, and I can go and just, 5 minutes, I'm hitting the road. So it's convenience. I mean, I've been doing it since ever. I mean, I'm 45 years old, and I've started free diving since I was 7 and 8. So I don't count anymore how many years I've been free diving and diving in the sea. It's just part of me. It's part of my fabric. Even my body doesn't behave anymore like other people. I mean, it's...
this man can eat all freaking day and not gain a pound. And I just look at this cookie and I gain 10 pounds just looking at the cookie. So
you got to free dive.
I'm not free diving. I can't hold my breath that long. It's bad enough when I go running. I try to do at least 5K a day.
Yeah.
And, I run out of air. And it's funny because the first 3 minutes is the hardest for me.
Yeah.
The first 3 minutes of running, but then once I get past that 3rd-minute plateau,
It just kicks in.
I can run.
Yeah.
But then once I get near 5, the body starts saying, "Hey,
Yes. Yes.
come back."
That's what happens to me when I go free diving. In the first 5-10 minutes, my body needs to get rid of everything in my digestive system.
Oh my God.
Everything needs to come out, and it happens immediately when I jump in the water. My body knows, it's programmed, that the moment I'm in the water, everything needs to be empty because look at the pressure, right?
Well,
and the volume.
You get compressed
Exactly.
underwater. Yeah.
So if that is the volume of anything, any organ that's in the water, in terms of it comes with heads like air, at 10 meters, it's half. At 20 meters, it's half of that. At 30 meters, it's half of that too. So you've gone from that to that, and it needs to have that stretch without having anything to, oppose it or push it. So it needs to flush everything out. So you tend to be, when we talk about free diving, you're free from everything, inside, outside, in your mind, everything. It's just like looking at an aquarium that's doing well. It's a different dimension to that,
Well, I know when I go diving,
Yeah.
my best dives are fasted.
Yes.
If I'm fasted,
Correct.
my dives are amazing.
You can't eat. Yeah.
If I eat breakfast and then go dive, it just made
no.
it horrible.
It's you can't do it. You can't
No,
do it because
no,
of that
no.
pressure element, and you know the
Yeah,
the pressure.
but I don't
on the
go as
food.
deep as you do. You're insane. What's your deepest dive?
My deepest dive was 54 meters. I did it with Goran Kolak in Fujairah in UAE when he visited town.
54 meters.
Yes, I went down with him on free diving. But I would say my normal free diving depth when I go out and have fun, it's usually between 15 meters and 30 meters. So this is, I mean, most of the corals and the fish, and you know, we dive to enjoy those animals and the reefs, and 95% to 98% of what you want to see is actually in the first 20 to 30 meters.
Yeah.
So you don't really need to go further than that. When you're scuba diving, you could actually see some of that, but when you're free diving, you can actually live with all that. You could actually interact with all that. It's unbelievable, and you can see in some of my videos how close I'm able to get to these animals. You know, these animals, they sense you. They can sometimes differentiate you between predators and non-predators. They you know you change their perception from seeing you as a threat to seeing you as an opportunity, because a lot of these animals, they depend on other species, other bigger species, to go hunting in order to seize any opportunity of anything leftovers. So you go in there, you get the groupers, you get the sharks, you get everything come close to you. And I'm not afraid of sharks. I mean, I can dive next to sharks, no problem. I've seen many sharks in my life, and I never see them as a threat. You know, I just think that they are amazing animals.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I scuba dive, and when I scuba dive, I'll lay down on a bed of grass, and the fish will come up. If I breathe slowly, I'll have wrasses swimming around.
Yeah.
And they'll come up to the mast, look inside the mast, like what's going on. It's really interesting that you slow down, you take it easy, and they'll come to you because they're curious.
Yeah.
They're
Correct.
curious. Well, you know, what's this guy doing? What's going on here? Okay, so now, what are your goals for the future of ThinkFish? What's your plans?
My plan is to set the store and this business to be one of the best stores in the world, and I mean it. You know, 5-10 years ago, my main aim was for ThinkFish to be one of the best stores in UAE, and we had many good stores, you know, before. They're all my friends, and I visit them every now and then. We talk reefing all the time. But my goal is to set ThinkFish in terms of par with the best aquatic businesses in the world, and I mean it when I say world. I want to get into more. I mean, I'm doing coral aquaculturing, but on a very small facility. It's a kind of a pilot project, but I want to get into coral farming professionally. I want to get into doing, you know, big size aquariums, public aquariums, more or less. But the corals is what drives me more than just the size of the aquariums, because most of the public aquariums, as you know, they're fish.
Yeah, they focus mainly on fish because...
Yes, it's the corals that drive me. So I want to do more and more into aquaculturing corals, because I see the future is into aquaculturing, because eventually most of those wild species are going to be more and more restricted. So the future is definitely in corals aquaculturing, with the advancement in the chemistry, like what Modern Reef have done, for example, and with the advancement of technology and electromechanical equipment, where we've reached today with the Neptunes and others and everything. I think it's now much more achievable, and it's costing also less and less, becoming more and more produced on mass scale, which is bringing the cost down. You just need to select the right real estate, the right location, because there's still utilities involved, which you have to keep in account. There's still manpower needs to be involved. But as long as you've got the market for it, I think this is the future.
You're in Dubai.
Yeah.
It's a big market.
It is.
I mean, it's not the U.S., right?
Correct.
The U.S. market is incredible. I have the market in Qatar, and it's quite small. However, here in Dubai. I mean, what's the population here?
It's around 10 million.
10 million.
Yeah, between
10
expats
million expats
and locals.
and locals.
Yeah, with locals around 20% of that.
About 20%. Okay,
Yeah.
still, it's a lot of people here.
Not only that, we've got around 207 nationalities. I hope I'm not wrong. Something around that figure, and
207 nationalities.
207
And they all
cultures.
speak English.
Yeah, they all speak English. 207 cultures, 207 ways of doing things, tastes. So you're gonna have everything here. I mean, you've got everybody coming in. It's just like you've got an international restaurant where you're gonna feed Indian food, Italian food, grills.
Yemen. Today we had Yemen food.
Yemenis food. Yeah,
Oh
today
my
was-
goodness.
Oh,
Yemen food for me is my pleasure. I really enjoy Yemen
yeah.
food.
But the first stop was that shawarma in Barsha area.
You know, we called Barnett and we put the phone up and we said, Barnett, look what we're doing.
Look at that shawarma.
Look at the shawarma.
He asked the secretary to check tickets for him. He wanted to come on the first plane. It's 9 hours flight to the Philippines.
Right, to come here and have shawarma. I
Yeah.
mean, but yeah, one of the best things about this place is the food.
Yeah.
And the same thing in Qatar. You go to the souk and you have all these different nationalities of food.
Yep.
Would you get the best Italian food? No, you have to go find a very
Find
good
it,
Italian
yeah.
food, a restaurant.
Yeah.
But you find them.
You'll find them.
You want a good Italian restaurant, you're going to find it. You want a good Yemen restaurant, like the one we went to today?
Yeah.
Oh, I picked up the bone and all the meat fell out. It was just
They do it very well.
mind-blowing.
They do it very well. They know what they're doing, these guys.
The shawarma was amazing, and all the other foods are amazing as well.
Yeah, I mean, the competition here is high. The expectations in terms of service and products are high. This is why when it comes to ThinkFish, we got to focus on the products that gives us the best reputation and give us the best results, and not necessarily the products that makes us the most money. Because usually the best products that give you the best results are the products that makes you the least money, because they're the products where their owners are confident about how good these products are, and everybody is looking for good products, right? The best lighting, the best filtration, the best skimmers, the best control systems, the best chemicals, the best wave makers. So, I mean, those guys, they know what they've done. They did a lot of hard work to produce that latest generation of light or corals or chemicals or what, and they know what they're doing. So, my first ambition and my priority was to focus, since the first time I entered this place, is on the products that makes us look good, because it's not just us. It's not just knowledge that gonna make us look good and gonna make us succeed. It's an ecosystem of things. We're talking about knowledge, our passion. That's the core. But then you gotta give them an aquarium that actually works and doesn't leak. The moment that aquarium leaks, you've lost that client, because that client trusted you with an aquarium of the best quality, and that's why we're dealing with specific types of aquarium that guarantees to a high degree of accuracy good results. And then you want to give them the right light. Is it the fish system or is it the coral system? And what type of corals? So you gotta get into the details. Is it just a soft corals? Then you don't need to go, high tech.
Extravagant.
Yeah, exactly. You can have this, a smart conversation with the client. Educate them. I've got this table. I've educated hundreds of people on this table, because I'll tell you something, Tony. 90% of our clients have no knowledge.
Yeah,
on
no
reefing
idea.
aquariums. 90%.
I faced the same issue in Qatar.
Yes.
A customer walks in,
Yeah.
and if they had a tank in the past, the first thing I hear from their mouths, I bought a tank, I bought fish, I bought corals, everything died. And as soon as I hear that,
Yeah.
I know that happened all in 24 hours.
Yes.
And you know that if you want success in this industry, 24 hours of doing that was a shop that all they wanted to do was sell you.
Yes.
They didn't care about your success. They care about, let's make this money right now and shove them out the door.
Correct.
And then worry about them later.
Correct. So start with education.
Yeah. If you if you show them the right path, you know what happens? They appreciate you for giving them the right path,
Correct.
as opposed to throwing them blindly into deep water
Yes.
and they don't know how to swim. You can't do that. You have to educate them. And every smart hobbyist, every smart businessman that I've ever met,
Correct.
all say the same thing.
Yes.
Let's teach them correctly. Let's give them knowledge, so then that way they understand that we're on their side.
Sometimes we lost clients simply because we explained, all these different types of aquariums. Too much.
Right.
But
now
I'd
they
rather,
said, well, I don't want to do this, that.
I'd rather have that because it's more ethical to actually show those clients what they're coming into before they commit, because it's not fair for the animals.
No,
it's like
but
taking.
you know what? It's not fair for the customer either.
Yeah.
Right? Because the customer needs to make a decision. Do I really want to go through all of this? Or at the end of the day, you know what? I really want a tank so bad in my house
Yes.
that I'm willing to go that extra mile.
Yes.
Do I have to wait 60, 90 days? You know what? I'll wait that period.
Yeah.
I'll keep the lights off. I'll keep the protein skimmer off.
Correct.
Knowing that the system has
Cycling.
to go through the cycling process.
Bacteria,
If they know that and you show them exactly, because I have examples in my shop of things that we did wrong and said, do you want to see that? Do you want this or do you want this? No, I want this.
Without
This
any
was
doubt.
doing it wrong. This was doing it right.
Correct. So it's important in the beginning to set the expectations right and not overpromise any of our clients. They gotta understand what's the nitrogen cycle is and why it's important, not only for them but also for the marine animals. It's not about selling. We ThinkFish is here not because it's just like a business. ThinkFish is here because it's our passion and because we love what we do. By love what we do, we love those animals and we care about these animals. So the most important thing is to first of all understand the client. Is he qualified to maintain such an aquarium? Or maybe he requires some assistance in maintenance, but then expectations need to be set from the beginning. Because sometimes, just like if you have a dog and you wanna give it to somebody, if that somebody is not qualified or not passionate about taking the dog, it's not fair for the dog. I don't care about the somebody. So you better keep the dog and give that dog to someone who really knows how to take care of him.
Who understands. That's what's required to keep them happy. And the same thing goes with
all fish and corals.
Who wants to walk into a house and see a green tank?
Well,
Nobody.
It's planted tank.
No, but I'm talking about a reef tank that looks green.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yes.
I've witnessed it myself.
Full of hair algae.
Hair algae, and the water's green because there's algae spores running rampant through the tank.
Yeah.
And guess what? Nobody wants that.
No.
So it's always best to give them the proper education to help them along. And I'm glad that you're a shop who's setting an example of doing the right thing for the customer. So, and you know what?
We're going to have some of your books over here because they can serve also as more education.
Well, that's a whole other subject.
I don't have time to write books. I mean, I can talk for hours, but...
No. So I'm glad. I'm honestly glad that you are an example of let's do it right.
Yeah.
And like you said, you've lost probably a few customers because you explained it.
Yes.
And you know what?
I'd rather do that.
Yes, I'd rather do that too.
Yes. And I say no a lot. Tony, I tell to my people, we are successful for how many times we say no and not for how many times we say yes. I get a lot of clients come in at the beginning of the cycles. They want this yellow tank. They want, no, your aquarium is not ready. And I had clients also who've reached their limit in terms of bioload on aquarium on how much fish they should add. They come here, they want to buy more fish, and we say no. Some of them actually go and end up buying more fish from other places simply because I push back and refuse to sell them. So what happens is after that disaster, we gotta go send the team and clean up after their mess, just because during Christmas party or during New Year's they just want to have a gorgeous tank for one day. It's not fair on the
family
species.
coming over and they want to have a beautiful tank. And this happens. I mean, it happens to us too. We tell them no. They go to another shop. They buy it, and then we hear the horror story. And what's amazing is you don't hear the horror story right away.
No, you don't.
You hear, oh, my fish is sick. Oh, really? What's going on with your fish? Send me a video. And you look at the video, and we don't carry that fish.
Yes.
That's my favorite part.
No, they'll tell you. They'll tell you. They'll admit. Because you told them not to.
No, I told them not to. But the video shows, because when they come to the shop, I only buy from you.
Yeah.
We know better. Okay? We all know better.
We've seen it a lot.
However, now they have a problem, and they come and they show me the video, and I look and I go, you didn't buy this fish from us because we don't carry this kind of fish. And they're like, I put that. So the problem started happening after this fish. Yeah, how did you know? How did I know? It's an old story.
So this is external, and I believe that every business needs to do a lot of work internal too. I mean, internal too, and we've learned it. Not that because we're educated people, because education only gives you that much, but it's the practical world and the adventure that teaches you the most. The center of gravity of education happens not in the 4 years that you get taught in university or anywhere else. It's actually in the 20, 30 years that follows, where you're actually doing trainings on the ground and getting trained on the ground by doing things yourself. So what we've reached to a level now that we do a pre-qualification to all of our suppliers. I actually jump on the plane, Elvis does the same, Zahir is going to do sometime too, and we go and visit our suppliers, fish and corals, to understand their facilities, speak to some of these suppliers. They use fishermen to catch corals for them or fish, and we understand the process of how the fish is going all the way, because you see the fish is being shipped in water, and that water, what happens with what? The ammonia level rises, the pH drops, and some suppliers simply would
the fish start to break down.
Yeah, they'll just put them in the export facility and ship them far away. And look, we've been through COVID, right? We've been to the pandemic, and when somebody gets COVID, he probably got it 1 or 2 weeks ago. The symptoms start showing later. So what happens? They ship those fish to us. They look healthy on the first day. Second day, third day,
inside.
They start breaking down, and by that time it's already too late, and it's already in our client's facility.
And now it's in a customer's tank.
So what do we do in order to prevent that from happening, Tony?
You quarantine. You hold them for at least 30 days.
But before that, that's a step. That's what we use.
Okay. Well, the right thing to do was like what we did with Barnett.
Exactly.
Right. Know what your processes are.
Correct.
How are you getting? First of all, how are you catching the fish? Yes. Second of all, how are you getting the fish from where you caught him to where he's housed,
correct,
to then to you, the facility that's going to export them forward?
And plus, when you do that and put them FaceTime with those partners, I call them the suppliers, they'll respect you more and they'll be more careful when they're dealing with you. I'm talking even for the ones who don't have the full processes, but they'll understand. They understand what's the right way of doing things. They've been doing that since a long time. So
I don't want to interrupt you.
Yes.
But I found some of the most successful retailers are the ones that go and visit them.
Yes, that's what we do.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you're doing.
Yes. So when you do that, that's the first part. You make sure you work with the right suppliers that got the right processes on place on that either coral or fish, mainly fish export facilities. Then the next step is the acclimation process. You understand from your suppliers, if you're getting fish from the Philippines, there's probably, they're used to the fish in the Philippines, so you learn from them. You don't just oppose what you've learned in the past. Learn from them, understand. Maybe you'll be able to blend in what they tell you to what you know through experience, and then you apply the right acclimation processes. And then comes the third step, is the quarantining, right? And treatment. And of course, that is very technical, and we've been doing that since a long time. And then in the end, this is when, I think, after all these steps, you've reduced the chance of transferring a disease to your customers by more than 95, 96%.
Yeah, you avoid all these issues. And you know what? Sometimes the customer blames themselves for fish dying,
Yeah,
and sometimes it's just out of our control. It's out of his control, my control. It's
true.
some fish are weak. I mean, I've gotten 7 yellow tangs. Okay, let's say 10 yellow tangs. And all of a sudden, out of 10, I wind up with 6. And the other 4 died. And it's just because they were weak or they started breaking down earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's just a mechanism where not everything lives.
Yeah.
Let's face it, not everything lives. You know, I always bring out an example of freshwater. I raised freshwater fish for many years before I got into saltwater.
Yep.
If I had a pair of Oscars that had 1,000 eggs, of those 1,000 eggs, 800 hatched. Of those 800, 30 days later, same water changes, same everything. Of those 800, only 200 are alive.
Yeah.
A year later, of the 200, only 70 are alive. It's because not all of them were destined to live.
It's just how nature is. That's how God created this world.
Exactly. And the same thing goes with the fish that we get.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know what's predetermined with the fish.
True.
Things can happen in collection,
Yeah.
post-collection, quarantine, other fish
Immunity.
harassing them.
Immunity,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of things.
stress,
But, boy, we could go on forever with
never.
this. Yeah.
That's a subject by itself.
I think we're going to do some podcasting going back and forth, you and I,
we should.
down the road.
We should
and
be
do
doing.
stuff like this.
I mean, that's
Okay, so now,
yeah.
if you have any parting words to give the audience or advice,
Yeah.
what would you tell them?
Patience. Patience, patience, patience. And believe me, the most successful clients that we have are the clients who listen and are patient. Remind you, we're born with 2 ears and 1 mouth, is to listen and analyze and then talk and be patient. By listening, you are analyzing more, you are understanding what it takes to be successful in this. And believe me, even though there'll be hiccups down the road, you're gonna get there.
There always is.
Really, there are people who walked into that store knowing zero about reefing, but because they were listening, good listeners, and because
They were really interested.
patient, they were patient. They are the most successful tanks in the market now. We'll be visiting some of them in the near future. However, I'm just telling you that those guys walked in with almost no knowledge about what they're getting into. It's easy, but you gotta listen, and you gotta be modest, and you gotta be patient. With patience, everything is easy. Remind you, these things, these aquariums, they don't like sudden changes. They like slow changes, slow progress. It's life, it's being created. That planet, before we were on that planet was alive for millions of billions of years. I mean, we have species on the planet that came in. And in the end, to where today, this is the result. We are in this ecosystem. That world wasn't built in one day.
No.
And the same thing for the aquarium. You're creating a new ecosystem. And people they want to jump immediately to quick results are the people who tend to fail the most, waste the most money, and what's more important than money, and I always say it, is end up killing a lot of innocent species.
Yeah.
I mean, those things, it's not fair. Look at them. I mean, they're so beautiful. You can reach to a point, I hand feed my fish. I put my hand in the water, even when I don't have food in the water. They'll come and start playing around my fingers, and we can maybe take videos of that. But it's just that to reach that level, you gotta be fair to the species in order to take that love back. Because this is what we want in the end. What's our goal? Our goal is to have a beautiful aquarium, and aquarium where we fill our passion and drives out and in, and that connection, whether it's in the house or an office or anywhere, I mean, I can talk in forever, but it's just
No, and Ayman, you're 100% correct. At the end of the day, it's the person that listens, it's the person that has patience, and the one that has tenacity.
yeah.
Because to be successful in this industry, you have to have tenacity.
Yes.
But if you have a great team that will take care of all of that for you, then guess what? That team is tenacious in getting the job done.
Yes. What we do is part of our maintenance for most of our clients that come in without knowledge about this hobby. They take the maintenance, and as part of the maintenance, we do an education session. They just have to be in working with my guys while they're doing the maintenance and the testing and everything. And we are gonna develop Think Institute, which gonna be upstairs.
Oh,
on that
that's
table.
interesting.
Yes.
Think Institute.
Yes.
I like that.
So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be giving courses on reefing, nitrogen cycle, like that's gonna be nitrifications and the bacteria cycle and all that. That's gonna be like one course on its own, because it's very important, and most of the beginners will actually benefit from that. There'll be a course in actually using control systems, programming and automation, a course on chemical dosing for aquariums, a course on fish treatment. We're going to be exploring more and more topics. I mean, there'll be more topics coming out every day. I learn new things every day. I mean, it's just like, think about ourselves like an iPhone or a Samsung. That
They
requires
keep getting
updates and
updated.
updates and updates. We
I
keep
mean-
on getting updated. I mean,
You know, just when you think, okay, there can't be no more updates.
no way.
Here's another update. You know,
Especially in this industry. Remind you, like 20 years ago, people know nothing about industry. You see, to me, that's the phasing on this from aquariums. We started when it comes to corals, and the main challenge 30 years ago in how to keep corals alive.
well, I mean, think about it. The article that I wrote on Acoporas,
Yes,
I wrote it in '93,
yes,
and it was published in '95.
yes.
And I mean, think about how far back that is. Back in '95, I wrote an article on how to keep Acropora in captivity.
Yes,
And
yes,
you know, the other day it's funny. We started talking about this. I was looking through eBay, and I found a copy of that magazine.
wow.
So I ordered the magazine because I don't know where my original copy is. And I ordered it, and it was like going back in time. You know, I remember all the things that I went through in putting that article together. And I haven't read it yet. And I'm sure if I read it, I'm going to say, I can't believe I said this.
It's, you know,
But, you know, what has transpired between that time, early 90s to today,
yeah,
the success we have, because now we have Acoporas that are easy to keep,
yeah.
and we have Acoporas that are very difficult to keep.
Yes, we have more knowledge about species, subspecies. We have more knowledge about what those species are formed from, the zooxantellas and all that. We've tested those species in captivity. We understand what they like. For example, who knew at that time that Gonioporus wanted manganese? Nobody knew. How would you know? I mean, nobody really measures consumption back in the sea.
But now they do.
Now they do. So,
Now they do.
30 years ago, the main challenge was keeping Acropora and some corals alive. 10 to 15 years later is how to restore the colors that were in the ocean. But that limit is gone. Today, how to create new colors, how to color them better, how to bring out colors that we don't normally see.
Exactly.
So we're in some avatarish future now. I don't know what we're going to be creating
Well,
in
you
the
know,
near future.
it's funny because, I mean, what's going to happen 10 years from now?
I
mean,
don't know. I'm excited to see it, to find out. But
You know, because when I did volume 1 of the book, the technology from volume 1, now when I came out with volume 2, I showed the difference between, in volume 1, we had AC pumps.
yes.
Today, the majority of our pumps are DC.
DC, controllable, yeah.
Everything is low voltage. Now, like back then, if your metal halide dropped in your tank,
Yes.
Cancel Christmas. It's
That's
over.
It. That's it.
It's over.
Gotta restart.
Today, I just did a video of dipping the whole light fixture in the water
Yes.
and showing how nothing happened.
Correct.
The way they're being built today. I mean, you can't do that with a lot of lights.
Correct.
You have to be very careful what you're doing. But this light didn't have no fan,
Yes.
so it had no openings, and it was perfectly sealed.
Yes.
So if this year I dipped it in water, what's going to happen 10 years from now? But hopefully volume 3 doesn't get done in 10 years from now. 'Cause
I'm excited to see that
you know,
volume 3 goes.
volume 3 will not have to wait 10 years like volume 2 did.
Yeah.
But so your parting words were patience.
Patience. Yeah. Without any doubt.
And I agree with him 100%. Patience, tenacity will make you an incredible hobbyist.
Without a doubt.
I want to thank you for allowing me to come and visit your place.
Tony,
But
it's been a pleasure.
Thank you
having
for,
here.
again,
Really,
thank you
this
for
is-
allowing me in. It's, you know, I don't do this much, but I really appreciate you opening your arms. And your team here, by the way, I have to say, your team is amazing. We've been at this, I don't know how long now, and they've been busy at work dealing with customers, and the customers are walking around us,
Yeah.
and they've been taking good care of them. But your team keeps a very beautiful shop.
Thank you very much.
You know.
We try to give them the best atmosphere to work here, work-life balance. I mean, probably we're the only company here that we give them 5 days working week. So most companies they work for 6 days,
Yeah, they
and
work
some
6
of them
days,
7. So we enforce them to work only 5 days. We don't want them to work more. We want them to enjoy their time out there with the families, even if it means that we have to invest with more people, which means feed more families. So this is how what it takes to keep everybody happy. I mean, we have people working for us here since 12 years.
Nice.
I mean, you can meet them, you can talk to them. I mean, they've been here.
No,
more than I-
as soon as I walk in through the door, the big smiles come on, and they're happy to see
We want them
any
happy.
of the customers. You know, it's not just me.
Yes.
I notice how they behave with all the customers, and
Thank you, Tony.
it's just the
That's
same.
it.
So, beautiful shop.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of VargasReef Chronicles. Thank you for joining us. Until next time.
You have to love reefing.